Hello guys, and welcome to Matt's Beamer. Today, I flew all the way over from Moscow to England, which gave me the opportunity to film my dad's car, which he has had for years. This 2004 Porsche Cayenne 4.5 S, codename 9PA, or as the people on the internet say, the 955. Back in 2002, Porsche put into production their first SUV. There were a lot of mixed emotions about this car. People were like, how can Porsche degrade themselves to make an off-roader? What people forget is, Porsche also used to make tractors years ago. Anyway, when the Cayenne hit the market, there was so much good press, mainly based on the handling and good powerful engines. The looks were a different story though. I used to think they were ugly myself, but they have grown on me. When the Cayenne hit the market, it consisted of a few V8s, the S and the Turbo. In later years, Porsche brought in the VR6 lump and a diesel engine, plus also a few more powerful V8 models. The Cayenne shares the same platform, door and body frame as the Volkswagen Touareg and I believe the Audi Q7, but everything else was done in-house by Porsche themselves. Anyway, this 2003-2004 Cayenne is finished in the wonderful metallic titanium, which looks great with the tinted windows and the alloy trim. Prancing on the end of the bonnet is Stuttgart's very own stallion, showing you the history of Porsche's beginnings, a badge which has grown on me so much, easily one of my favourite manufacturers nowadays. Now, up front, as you would expect, the headlights. These are the standard halogen bulbs. One thing that is clever about them is that the whole unit comes out to change the bulbs. But the bad thing is, they are known to be stolen quite easily. Next up is the grille, and in my opinion, this grille is better looking than the turbo grille, especially when some of the turbo grilles are colour coded. The bonnet and light setup kind of reminds me of the 996 911 and the 986 Boxster. On the lower side of the front bumper are some indicators. These can also be seen from inside the wheel arch. The lower half of the car's front bumper is in the black plastic, which is good if you ever take the car off-road. In the black zone of the front bumper are the front fog lights, which both have towing eye covers right next to them. The ground clearance of this car is just over 21 centimeters. The cars with adjustable suspension can be set higher or lower than this. In front of each wheel arch is a wheel arch guard which protects the area somehow. The bonnet on this car is nice and long, which makes the car easier to navigate. The car has modern beam type wiper blades which hide low down behind the bonnet along with the jet washers. This helps with the aerodynamics. As you can see through the windscreen, this car is fitted with rain sensors which activate the wipers when it begins to rain. The alloys in this car were the coolest back in the day. They are the 20-inch 5-spoke Sport Techno alloys, wrapped in 275/40 R20 tyres. The badge logos on this car are a kind of a monochrome style too. Under those alloys are the 350mm ventilated discs, which work great with those very powerful 6-piston alloy monoblock calipers finished off in a silver colour with the Porsche name on the side of them. The suspension on this car is the non-air type, so it has the independent double-track control arm, steel springs, struts which help with the lateral forces by having coil springs offset from the damper axis. Up on the roof, we have the system which holds the roof rack into place, should you need one. The colour-coded door mirrors are electronically controlled, heated and also fold in if desired. I believe my dad fitted the window deflectors here. One thing that I like on this specific car is that the door trim is finished in an aluminium colour, which looks even better against the tinted windows. The rear windows are much darker in tint. The driver's door handle has a key slot, which always gives me a confidence boost. The insert of the pull handle is colour coded to the car's colour, with aluminium style trim around the edges. Along the bottom of the doors are more aluminium styling details. and some more strong black plastic trim. The fuel flap on the Cayenne is opened from the inside of the driver's door with a little switch. Just pull the switch and it pops open. On the inside of the door is a little note telling you which fuel is required for this vehicle. To close this flap, just push the door back in. The rear wheels on this car are the same size as the front ones. The ventilated discs though are a little smaller, measuring at 330mm. The rear calipers have 4 pistons each. They are alloy monoblocks. The rear suspension is also independent, with multi-arm axles on the subframe. Steel spring struts, which help the lateral forces by having the coil springs offset from the damper axis. On top of the tailgate is a spoiler, which gives the car a sporty edge. Just underneath that is a third brake light. This car has a tinted rear window. The rear wiper unit also has a switch underneath it, which opens the glass section of the tailgate. Under the glass is more alloy styling. As you can see, there is no Porsche sign on the rear, but there is a big sign saying Cayenne S in an aluminium colour. Beneath this badge is where the main tailgate release button is. Each side is a number plate bulb. The rear lights look great after all these years, though dated compared to some of the newer models. On top of the bumper or loading edge of the tailgate is a metal protective strip which protects the paintwork. The lower half of the rear bumper also has a black plastic finish. This gives it more of a practical use. The rear has 2 plastic tow eye covers and 2 massive sporty stylish exhausts, as you can see. Let's have a look inside the car. This is the key, which has been made to look like a Porsche Cayenne. It is also a switchblade type key. This button locks and unlocks the car. And this one here unlocks the boot. If you double tap the lock button, it will deadlock the doors. Pull the handle to open the solid heavy door. The interior of this old Cayenne is a lovely place to be. It's comfortable, practical, well built, luxurious, and it is easy to understand. It has full black leather with alloy touches here and there. This car also has front, side and overhead airbags, along with many other safety features. At the back of the dash is where the windscreen air vents are located. That black thing is the sun sensor, which works alongside the air conditioning. If the sun is strong, it puts more power into the aircon. Each side of the dash is an air vent for the front side windows. On top of the dash is a big massive air vent cover with an on and off dial. Along the front edge of this soft touch dashboard are the main air vents. The directional flow tab and wheel are both in silver. The front seats in this car are heated and it has 5 different heat settings. Next up is the Porsche Stability Management on and off switch. PSM is another word for this. The usual hazard switch. This light here informs you if the passenger airbag is on or off. Heading on to the PCM entertainment system. When you turn it on, you are greeted by a Porsche logo to help jog your memory that you're driving a Porsche. The 2 top buttons pick up and hang up the telephone. Push FM and AM to put the radio mode on. This car is an old car, so it does not have touchscreen like the modern units do. You have to use the wheel on the bottom right hand corner to select what you want by rotating it and pressing it in. Press CD and the CD options will appear. The number pad allows you to select the track you want from the CD. Press eject and the CD will pop out. The number pad also functions as a telephone. Just below the pad is a SIM card holder as shown. Repeat just sticks the CD track on repeat. Down the right hand side we have a button which turns the screen on and off but still keeps the unit on, plus a few more sat-nav buttons. There is also a back button which allows you to go back to the previous menu. Along the bottom are many buttons. The main screen button, which is basically a home button, audio mode, sound control mode, telephone, mail, information, video, trip computer and the sat-nav. I wish I had more time to film this. Just down below the PCM we have the front heated window button, plus the rear heated window button. The auto button, which automatically adjusts the temperature and fan speed depending on the climate. On the far right hand side we have the recirculated air button. This little grille is the temperature sensor for the interior, which helps the auto aircon. There is a silver cover with the word Porsche written along it. Slide it down to reveal this car's auto 2-zone air conditioning system. There are 4 silver switches on this model. The outer pair controls the fan speed, whilst the inner pair control the temperature. It is all displayed on the orange and black screen. In the centre, these 3 buttons are for controlling where the air flows. The upper arrow sends the air upwards. The downwards arrow sends it to the footwell. The grille picture sends it through the grille right in front of you. Central on the screen is the clock. Eco puts the aircon into economy mode, while the rest button keeps the car warm by using the heat of the engine bay. Down below is the ashtray. Push it in to pop it out. Inside is a cigarette lighter or a 12-volt power point. And this switch here is so that you can take the ashtray out to clean it. Push the drawer back in to close it. A very shallow pointless storage space. Here is the 6-speed Tip Traonnic gearbox, which allows you to control the gear shift manually if you want to, by either using the gear lever or the buttons on the steering wheel. The gear lever is finished in black and silver. Press the button in with your foot on the brake to change position. Pull back to drive, then tap left to put the car into manual mode. Tap forward to change up a gear, tap backwards to change down a gear. You can see the gear you're in by either looking at the screen on the instrument cluster or looking down at the lights next to the gear shifter. I like that the silver trim has Cayenne on it, to remind you that you're driving a Cayenne. Here is the driving mode switch. If you press the rocker switch forward, it puts the car into off-road mode, which changes all the drive systems into low range. Pulling back puts the car into road mode, which puts the car in the ultimate settings for driving on the road. This car has a little storage space next to the toggle switch, due to the car not having air suspension or the sports button. Moving on back are the 2 cup holders. These can be hidden by a sliding cover. Moving back even further is the armrest and storage area. The top button opens the shallow storage space, while the lower one opens up the main area for storage, though it's not as big as you would think due to the transmission tunnel, I believe. Over to the driver's view. It's a nice place to be. I love the instrument cluster with the alloy and red needles. It gives it a sporty feeling. The steering on this car is power assisted hydraulic steering. The steering wheel is wrapped in leather, which gives it a nice feel. The horn must have a loose earth, because at the moment it sounds like Donald Duck. The wheel also features the Tip Traonnic system. You can change the car's gears here. Over to the dials, which I love. The oil temperature, a big sporty rev counter, the coolant temperature and the fuel gauge. There's a big speedo and a little battery voltage gauge. The centre screen shows you a lot of information, which is controlled with the switch on the right hand stalk. You can see things such as miles per gallon, range, average speed, menus for the car settings and features. It also shows you the radio status, gear position and the speed. The clock button resets the clock, while this button here resets the trip mileage. The left stalk controls the indicators and the high and low beams and parking light. The right hand stalk controls the wipers and the onboard computer. Back up to the dials again. The left screen shows the time and the right hand screen shows the mileage. The ignition slot in this car is on the right hand side, unlike other Porsches. Slide the key into the slot and you'll hear the steering lock unlock. Oh, by the way, the car also has silver trim, which goes along the dash, along to the doors. Just under the ignition switch is where the light switches are. Rotate to turn the lights on, and pull the switch out for the fog lights. The left-hand scroll wheel controls the dimming of the dashboard lights, while the dial on the right-hand side controls the light's beam angle. This car has the Mercedes-style handbrake. Pull the P to release the handbrake and use this pedal here to apply the parking brake. The accelerator and brake pedal are finished in silver with black rubber details to give you grip. This is where the bonnet releases. Back up to the A-pillar, we see the mirror controls on the door. In the 12 o'clock position, the mirror is in heated mode. Flick it left or right to select the mirror that you want to adjust. You adjust the mirror by using the switch as a joystick, as shown. If you rotate the knob to the 6 o'clock position, then the mirrors will fold in.
Look at those palm trees there.
By your leg on the door are some more buttons. The door lock and unlock button, which is the same in each door. The 4 electric windows and the power cutoff switch to the rear. Let's open the door to see more. The air vent holes, the speakers and door pockets. Here are the buttons for the fuel flap release and the rear hatch release. Down the edge of the door is the information for the tyre pressures, plus a vent which carries the air from the front to the back passenger compartment. There is also a red light for safety. The door sills in this car are silver metal with black detailing. The seats in this car are covered in Porsche's finest black leather. As you can see, the seats are electric, but not fully. This switch here controls the lumbar support. This one here moves the base forward and backwards and up and down. And this one here adjusts the incline and decline of the seat. The headrest button on this car is actually just a bit of plastic. Oh, this is the port for the OBD2. On top of the door is where the red light flashes when the car is armed with the alarm. The steering wheel is adjusted manually. Pull down this lever, then you can pull back and lift up and down the steering wheel. Push the lever back up to lock the steering wheel into place. The rear view mirror on this car has a manual tilt. Above that are the various interior lighting controls. The vents are actually the alarm sensors. There's also an SOS button which calls for help if you should need it. Oh, there is also a sunglasses holder too. Both front passengers get 2 sun visors each. Each has a mirror and lighting system. Oh, and also a card holder. Everyone also has a soft closing grab handle. Let's have a look in the passenger side. I forgot to film it, but the front 2 people also get a grab handle right next to the gear lever. The glove box in this car is lockable. Inside is a nice size with interior lighting, an air vent to keep it cool, and also a pen holder. Let's have a look in the back of the car. In the back is a spacious place to be. The rear windows are tinted so you have privacy, but it also makes filming in the back a pain in the arse. The doors in the rear have the same things as the other doors, but they also have speakers, ashtrays and child locks. Up in the head lining is the interior lighting for the rear passengers, plus the rear grab handles. On the rear of the B-pillar is the air vent for the rear passengers. The air travels throughout the front doors from the dashboard. The seat pockets on these cars are big, which brings into shot the central air vents. They do the same as all their vents in the car, but feel a bit cheaper. Down below is a storage compartment and a 12-volt power point. The knee room is okay, along with the headroom. The car also comes with ISOFIX points in the rear. Each headrest is adjusted by this button here, and there are 3 headrests in the back, along with 3 seatbelts. These buttons fold down the rear seats in a 40-60 ratio. Unfortunately, due to time, I can't show you. Going back up to the interior lighting are the holes where the boot separators clip into. With the seats up, the boot measures in at 540 litres, while when the rear seats are down, the boot size increases to 1,770 litres. On the boot edge are some reflectors for safety. This here is the load covers for the items in the boot, and this netting here separates the rear area from the passenger compartment. The right-hand side storage space has a warning triangle inside. On the floor of the boot are areas where you can tie down your luggage. On the left-hand side of the boot is another 12-volt power socket and another storage door. Underneath the rear floor is the spare wheel along with breakdown stuff. On the right-hand side of the boot is a button. If you press this button in, you will reveal the hidden tow bar. Let's watch it pop out. To return it, you need to hold down the button until it finishes its process. It's a cool feature which I love. I usually hate tow bars. Oh yes, in the rear is an armrest with a small storage compartment. There is also the compartment for the ski hatch. Oh, here is the glass section of the rear tailgate being opened. I almost forgot to put this in. Now, let's start up the car. The Cayenne S is powered by a front-mounted water-cooled aluminium 4.5 V8 with a dry sump, not like the wet sumps that are used in the V6 models. The 4,511cc lump produces 340 horsepower and sends 420 Nm of torque through its 6-speed Tip Traonnic transmission to all 4 wheels, though the power is more biased to the rear. 0 to 100 kilometers per hour is about 7 seconds, and it has a top speed of 242 kilometers per hour, which is about 150 miles per hour. This car averages about 19 miles per gallon, which I believe isn't too bad for a big old heavy V8 off-roader. The car weighs 2,245 kilograms. It's 4,782 millimeters in length, 2,216 millimeters in width, and 1,699 millimeters in height. It's a great car that was sold on the day of making this video. If you made it to the end of this long video and enjoyed it, please hit the thumbs up, hit subscribe and share it. I would be most grateful. Take care, thank you.